Hello. This week I'm going to be having a go at making a field. Now this is something I've been meaning to do for a long while. What I've done is I've just cut some of my sign writer board. You've seen me use this before. I'm running short of this myself, but basically, if you want to use this kind of thing, you want to go to your local sign writer and ask him if he's got any offcuts. And to be honest, the one that I originally used, he was more than glad for me to come and take some of it away for him. But it makes excellent boards. It doesn't warp, carves easily, because I've chamfered the edges on this. Everything sticks to it, I've not had any problems with it. Anyway, I digress. What I wanted to do was have a go at building one of those teddy bear fur fields. Now the thing is, I've been looking at teddy bear fur online. Now I don't know about you, but it seems very expensive, and whenever I've looked at getting small pieces of it, it just doesn't justify it. I mean, if you're trying to make your own terrain to save a bit of money, it just didn't seem worth it to me, really. Anyway, since then, I've been trawling all the charity shops and, second-hand shops, car boots and things like that. And I have, from time to time, eyed up an old teddy bear. But my wife wasn't having that. She said it's cruel to cut a teddy bear up when a kid could have it. So, don't want to disappoint her, so I let that one go. And I carried on my looking around. Anyway, I went into a charity shop, and they'd got... I'll just pull it up. An old teddy bear fleece. Now, there was bits of it that weren't in such a great condition. It was a bit, not stained or anything, but a bit dirty. So basically I've washed it. And I'm going to use this material. It is called a teddy bear throw. And the good thing about it was that I got it for, I think it was about £3, £3.50, something like that, which you just could not buy the teddy bear fur for. Now, that's great. I mean, it doesn't come without a disadvantage. The disadvantage being, if you look at the fur side, it's fur side on the other side as well. Which can make it a bit of a problem sticking it down. So what I've done, what idea I've come up with is a Christmas present of Bob and Peg's was a hair clipper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and shave the back side of it and see if I can get that down to a material. And then, if I can, that's great. And then I can use that to stick down on the board. And then I've just got to think about what to stick it down with. I've done a few little experiment pieces. I'll perhaps bring one of them into the video at some point. I tried a spray glue. I think that one's worked out okay. But it has come through in places, which might be a problem, if I carry on with it. I know from things I've seen before that PVA will probably soak through and destroy the other side. So I'm going to give it a go with this contact glue. But I'm going to be quite sparing with it and see if I can get away with that to get it down. The only other option that I can think of that I could perhaps experiment on another one at some point is some of the cork material that you use for, you know, in decorating. But I think you'd have to be very sparing with that to get that down. It would hold it, definitely. It's worth thinking about. It might be something that I try, but for now I'm going to try some of this and see if that works. So first of all, what I've got to do is give this a quick shave. So let's just see how we go on with this. I don't think Bob and Peg will mind. They'll just be glad it's not them. Right, let's see. Looking good. It's not quite got it all off yet, but I'm just getting through the thick of it at the moment, so let's persevere. Could have been a sheep shear of me. As long as it lays still like that and flat. Right, so I've cut it to shape. And as you can see, I've shaved it down that side. It's not completely clear, but I don't want to risk ripping it apart. So now I'm going to try some of this to stick it down with. But as I say, I don't want to make it too much because I don't want it oozing through everywhere. Should do. I'm going to mix up some plaster with a little bit of fast drying base glue, and that way it will keep it a bit more flexible, and I'm going to use this to edge the field. Not only will it hold it down more, but it'll also create the, you know, the edging for the field itself. And then I can, you know, either earth or grass that to make it look more natural. Right. So what I need to do is get it to catch the edge of it. create that path all around it. Just finish off this edge and I'll bring it up and show it you. You could, in actual fact, use the cork filler to do this, because that's quite elasticated, so that would be another good option for edging your field with. But I've used this in the past and it's always worked fine, so I said I was going to bring it up to you, didn't I? Right. So you can see how it's capturing all the edge. I mean, obviously we'll be putting a base down on this of some grass or soil or whatever. But this is just really to capture those loose edges. I'm not going to worry about the bit that's strayed into the fur a little bit, because I'll be brushing this through once it's all dried and, you know, set. And I can get out the bits that I want and trim any bits that are unsightly. Right, I'll get the rest of this done and then I'll bring you back. Right, so that's all edged now. I'm not going to worry about, you know, the plaster that I've got going into here. Over time that's going to be obscured anyway, because what I will do when all this is totally dry, I'm going to put a bit of brown Mod Podge down here before I put any scatter on it, and we can tidy up the edges then. But the first thing we've got to do is let this completely dry now, and then we'll have a look at the next stage. Right, I'll bring you back soon. Now you might remember that I mentioned a test piece that I did, and on this test piece I thought, oh, I know what I could use. I could use some, I got it from the Works. It's like a spray adhesive, quite a strong one, that's supposed to be able to stick material and everything. And yes, it's bonded it down, but I don't know whether you can see here, some of it has gone hard in the middle of it. It's come up through the material. So obviously it doesn't matter on this one because it was a test piece. But obviously the spray glue, which would seem to be the right one, is not good enough, really. It comes through the material. And as I say, I know that obviously PVA would, because obviously it does. But this one, I'm not saying it's the best, it's just the only one I've used at the moment that seems to work. By being sparing with it, as you can see on this one, it's lost none of that bounce at all. And what I've done to this since it's dried is I've just got an old metal comb and I've just been combing it through. And you know how we had the bits of plaster on the edges? I've combed it out. And this one is going to fit the bill, I think. I'm not saying, like I say, there could be a better glue out there. I mean, if you've used something, you know, please drop it in the comments. But obviously this one is not good enough, so I mean, what I'll do is I'll tear this off and relay it. because I won't waste the board. The board will be fine. I'll just stick a new piece on and I can have it as a small field. But it's, I mean, to be honest, I could have done it a lot smaller sample, but I just thought I'd try it at a reasonable size to see if it did work. But it's worth experimenting. Anyway, I'll put that to one side for now. This is the main one. Now, what I was thinking, when I initially looked at this material, I thought, oh, it's a bit too bright. I'm going to have to colour it down, and you know. And what I was anticipating doing is, you know, lightly brushing it with some acrylic paints, you know, very lightly, and then like, you know, combing it through in different directions to make it blend in. But to be honest, since it's dried, I'm quite happy with the colour of this. It looks quite good. So I think, you know, for this first piece, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it as is. Other ideas that I've had is like cutting this into strips and then having gaps running through the middle. You know, where your soldiers can come up through the middle of it. So that's another idea. That, I mean, I know people do that with the doormat type, but I think on this occasion I'm gonna leave this one as it is, and maybe in the future at some point I can have a look at, you know, experimenting a bit more with this. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move on to the next stage of, you know, putting my soil mix and stuff around the edges here. So let me just get myself sorted out, and we'll come back and we'll take this one up to the next level and see what it looks like then. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mix up some earth coloured Mod Podge. So I've put some matte Mod Podge in here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of this tan earth. There we go. Just brush this on around the edges. As I say, it doesn't matter if it goes a little bit into the hay, you know, just try and keep it to a minimum. We're going to put something down on this while it's still wet. That's why I'm going fairly fast with this. I've got out a box of fine stones, and I'm going to pick the finest out. I'm not going to put them everywhere, just a few here and there. there are a few other little bits that I want to use up, because I've got some sawdust earth ground cover here. Not got very much of it, but I'm going to scatter a little bit of this on here as well. Basically, I just want to get a natural looking border to the field. Now what I've also got, which is going to give me a slightly different feel to it, and a bit of a bolder soil, is some dry tea leaves. Not used these for a bit, but it gives a bit of a darker soil. And that's all I want for the soil finish. Now let's put a bit of that grass on it. That's enough of that one. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a little highlight of some lighter green. That's that one. And then one final thing that I want to do is put a little sprinkling of my ultra fine soil mix. And that's it. Right, I'll just bring that up. I can't shake it off yet because I want to give it a bit of time to dry. Right, so what we'll do is we'll let that dry, shake it off. Any other little additions we want to add to it I can add then, and then I can seal it all around this edge again with some watered down PVA and brush out the field again. Right, let's let that dry and then I'll bring you back. Well, they're not quite dry yet. I've managed to patch this little one up. I just took a little piece out and put another piece in, really, so it was quite easy in the end. And I've dressed them up. I mean, this one, as you can see, it will lighten up around the edges, but it's not dry yet. It's going to take a little while. But I just thought I'd, wind this video up by dressing it up a bit and letting you see what it, the potential of it. So if I put a few edges into the picture. And then introduce a few squads going through. The good thing about them is you can actually, just move the base around and it sits down in it. Better put one or two in this, aren't I? I mean, what I will do is I'll take a few little pictures to let you have a closer look as we wind it up. But I just wanted you to see. I mean, it's like I said, really, there's so much more you could do with this. So I'll probably come back to this at some point and do some experiments. At the moment, I'm quite happy with the look of this. But as I said before, you could mix some colours in, some light greens to show early parts of the shoots. Some very light top to give it like a wheat field look. And not another thing, of course, is you could actually have a damage field and have like a crater in the middle of it. But yeah, I think it's definitely got potential. And for what I paid for the teddy bear fleece, it's certainly a lot cheaper than the teddy bear fur was to buy, as is. Right. Well, let me take a few pictures and we'll close this one up. Well, on the whole, I think these look pretty effective. As I've said, there's plenty more we could do to experiment. And if you would like me to come back to this at some point in the future and maybe experiment with some of the ideas we've discussed, drop me a comment and let me know what you think. Anyway, I hope you've found this interesting. Hope it's perhaps given you some ideas. And if you have enjoyed it, please consider giving me a thumbs up. Or why not subscribe and tink that bell so you get a notification when the next video drops. Anyway, that's it for this week. So I'll see you again soon. Bye.